Welcome to the Puck and Pigskin Podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. Just great sports fans talking mostly about hockey and football, sprinkled with a bit of everything else. Now, here's your host, a Flames fan with a Golden Knights backup plan, Jason Bizik.
All right, I'm here with Kenneth, who is the co-founder and CEO, I believe, of Simbull. That's S-I-M as in simulation, I'm assuming, and bull as in stock market bull.
Bull market, absolutely.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what exactly this is, Kenneth.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you having me on. It's always nice talking to users in the market and being able to reach your audience, which is great. So Simbull, as plainly as I can put it, Simbull is a stock market where you can invest in shares of professional sports teams just like you would companies in the stock market. So we really created Simbull as this new form of entertainment. Obviously, you have your gambling spot, you have your daily fantasy stuff, but there's really no way to invest in teams like you would companies in the stock market. And my background's investing, so I thought it'd be pretty cool. We launched it, and here we are today.
Yeah, so I was actually introduced to it through Mike, who is the co-founder of Belly Up Sports, which this podcast is, of course, presented by. And so I perused the website a little bit and came to you with a couple of questions because I didn't see any NHL hockey on there. But and then here we are. So this looks like a really interesting idea to me. I'm a person who buys stocks already, but when I saw that I could actually buy stocks in sports teams, I was a little elated.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we've gotten feedback from a lot of people, right? So a lot of my friends are starting to get in the stock market. It's become really popular, right? With the GameStops up and the cryptocurrencies, a lot more people are starting to invest. So it's great timing for us, but that's one of the reasons why we launched the market is a lot of people want to invest, but they're not passionate about companies they're investing in, right? They're using it as entertainment, but we thought we could create a better form of entertainment with sports teams because, like I said, a lot of my friends are investing, but they don't know what the CEO of the companies they're investing in, or they don't know the earnings of the companies they're investing in, but they do know the Jacksonville Jaguars went 1-15 last year and are about to draft Trevor Lawrence. So we're really giving them a platform where they give the same entertainment value, but they're experts in the topic.
Mm-hmm. So now myself, I see that there's NFL in there and NBA and MLB, I think. I myself am not a big fan of MLB or NBA, but I'm getting back into NFL. And my team right now is the Raiders, I'm going to say, because I used to be a Dolphins fan until Dan Marino retired. And then I kind of lost touch with the NFL. And now that the Raiders have moved to Las Vegas, I am now a Las Vegas Raiders fan. What can I expect for numbers regarding the Las Vegas Raiders this season?
So the Raiders are an interesting one. I mean, they were 8-8 last year. They're right in the middle of the pack. I think their price is like the 15th or so team in the Sim NFL market. So they're about midway. They're priced a little bit lower than I would say some teams that they're going to be better than because I think their future is a little bit tougher than, for example, the football team and the Panthers are priced ahead of them. Or excuse me, the Sim football team and the Sim Panthers are priced ahead of them. People are excited about the future, right? You don't know what you're going to get out of Sam Darnold in Carolina. You don't know, what the football team's building. They've got some exciting stuff going on with their defense. And then in signing Ryan Fitzpatrick. So people are excited about them. The Raiders didn't have an exciting offseason, I would say. So the Sim Raiders stock didn't move too much, but they are, middle of the pack or so.
So then kind of explain the process of somebody who wants to invest in a team and how the kind of the payment process works and how you get paid as somebody who invests in a team.
Yeah, absolutely. So process is pretty simple. Our transaction, I'll take you through the whole user experience. Payments are processed through PayPal. So you come and make a deposit. PayPal goes right into your account, and then you can start investing in the teams. So in our market, there's two ways to make money, and they're very similar to how you make money in the real stock market, which is one is share price appreciation, right? Buy low, sell high. If a team is not as good now, and then in a couple of years they get a lot better, they can improve in value. An example is actually the Sim Red Sox in the Sim MLB market. They started 0-3. Their price dipped. They've won like 9 in a row, or they're like 9-1 in their last 10. And they've gone up 12% just because, hey, they're winning a lot more games. They're a lot better. So now the other question is, okay, well, why are these shares valued the way they're valued? It's because of what's called win payouts, which is the second way to make money in our market. So similar to dividends from a stock you own, if a team you own wins a game, you have the opportunity to earn a win payout. So in the NFL, for example, the Sim NFL, if a team you own wins, you earn a 50-cent win payout. So 50 cents per share every time that you get that deposit cash into your Simbull account. So for example, thinking about the Raiders, last year they won 8 games. So 50 cents per win, they got a $4 return off of, say, a $25 investment. So the return was like 16% on win payout. So that's where the shares are valued. So, you want teams that are going to earn a lot of win payouts. Or the flip side of that is, hey, maybe I think this team's good. They're not winning a lot this year, but I think they're going to be good in the next 2 to 3 years. I'm going to invest in them now while they're cheap and then earn win payouts in the future once they get better.
So a team like, say, Kansas City, who pretty much runs the board every season now, it seems, they're going to probably have a lower win payout because they're expected to win more. Is that how that would work?
So they get a win payout every time they win, but the problem is the return is lower, right? So for example,
right.
The Chiefs are priced at $50. So if they win 10 games, but a team priced at $40 wins 10 games, you're better off buying the $40 team. So that's where the skill comes into play of,
right.
You got to know which teams are going to win relative to their price, right? You'd rather own the Chiefs, but they're more expensive. So would you rather own the more expensive team or the cheaper team?
Right. Okay. Now I think I saw something on there also about a team pennant, and how does that work with giving back a team pennant or receiving a team pennant or something of that nature?
Yeah. So in our market, you're buying virtual shares. These shares are just represented online. But the cool thing about it is each virtual share online is backed by a team pennant, right? So when you buy a virtual share, what you're really buying is the rights to this team pennant that we hold on your behalf. So all it is an asset-backed virtual share, right? So obviously we're not selling equity into teams. We don't have the right to do that. But what we're selling is virtual shares that are backed by a team pennant. So the team pennant is just a physical asset behind each share.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like a heck of a concept, and I'm kind of excited to look deeper into it, especially when the NHL, when you add NHL to the mix. And when do you expect that to happen, do you think?
We'll get you some Sim NHL coming soon. Next year, at the beginning of next year, we'll do when we launch a new league, we do an initial share offering. So we'll introduce all the shares, we'll sell them out to the market, and we'll do that for the Sim NHL sometime this off season before the next season. So right now we have Sim NFL, Sim NBA, Sim MLB. We'll launch Sim NHL. We're also going to launch Premier League Soccer, MLS. Hopefully start looking into some college sports, all the major sports possible.
NNL lacrosse by any chance as well?
Yeah, we're going to look into some of the smaller sports, lacrosse, rugby for sure.
Yeah, lacrosse is getting pretty big now. All right, well, that pretty much covers the gist of the platform and how everything works. Why don't you kind of just tell everybody where they can find you and where they can get on Simbull?
Yeah,
Simbull.
Absolutely. So website www.simbull.app. That's SIMBULL.app. A lot of information on there. You can go see what the market's doing. You create a free account. You can go look at it. We also have tutorials on how to do the market, how to make money, etc. So go check out that. On Twitter, really active Twitter, @Simbull Exchange on Twitter. Same thing with Facebook and Instagram. We can connect with you there. If you have any questions that arose from this that you want to ask me personally, feel free to reach out to us via our website. You can do a contact us, or our DMs are open on Twitter as well. That's how Jason connected with us. So feel free to slide into our DMs and ask any questions you may have about the market. And we look forward to seeing you participate.
Yeah, before I let you go, I noticed you said the website is simbull.app. Speaking of app, is there an app?
There's not an app currently, so we're not on the App Store, just web-based app right now. We are in the process of developing an app. Hopefully end of this year, beginning of 2022, we'll have hopefully an iOS app release.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks for joining me, Kenneth, and I'll jump on there soon, hopefully, and start making some money.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Jason. Look forward to seeing your success.
All right, I'm joined now by Travis Currah, who was one half of the CFL's 2 and Out podcast. Travis, welcome to Puck and Pigskin podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad we got this worked out now.
Yeah, it's great to see two rivals here talking. Two Western rivals, I guess.
There we go.
So I guess I want to start by first getting your views on what's happening in the CFL right now with the XFL CFL partnership. Partnership.
Yeah.
What's your take on what we've heard so far, and where do you think it's actually going?
It's hard to say. A lot of it is just rumors, right? But it looks like the CFL is kind of in desperate need of some help. And I think that is undeniable, really. I don't know how I feel about a complete merger. I don't know if that would work. There's so much that needs to go in the two leagues, the XFL and the CFL, completely merging everything together. So I'm kind of worried about that as a CFL fan. The Canadians being able to play the game, the 3-down game, the Grey Cup, and you can call me somebody that's stubborn and set in their ways, but I just don't want to lose that. But at the same time, I know that they need to try to make something to make the business sustainable, right? It's not an easy decision, but they're at the table right now. We'll see what comes out of it. The latest I've sort of heard is if there could be sort of an interleague championship game. And if that's what ends up happening, and there's a partnership that way, and there's a good relationship between the leagues, and they have, one interleague game a year, I think that could be pretty fun to see where that could go. And I think it would engage Canadians, because you, the Stamps fan, me, the Rider fan, we can unite. I'm pretty sure that we would both be cheering for whoever is representing the CFL against the XFL team. I think it'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you that the CFL definitely needs something to happen, and I think they've probably needed it for a while. And I'm wondering, you mentioned that you think it would be hard to merge the two, and I'm wondering at the back of my mind if maybe that's what's taking so long to hear anything regarding what their plans are. Maybe they are hashing out how to merge the two. And yeah, I don't know. I'm quite confident in whatever is in the works, because The Rock's not a stupid guy. He's a businessman and he knows how to do business, as does the ex-wife there. I can never remember her name. What is her name?
Danny Garcia.
Right, Danny Garcia. Sounds like a football name.
It kind of does.
Garcia.
One that you know well in Calgary.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where they're going, but I'm at the point. I just saw a tweet, actually, a girl on there that said, I don't know what's going on with the CFL, but the longer we go without it, the more people are realizing that they can go on without it, which is kind of scary too.
Yeah, that's why it's critical for them to get on the field this year.
Yeah.
And they don't have the might and the power that the NFL does, which is actually just a machine. It's up there with the Apples and the Amazons of the world. Like, it's just a massive corporation with massive money behind it. The CFL doesn't have that, and that's part of the charm too. Like, it's a league that belongs to the fans, and I think that's why fans are so passionate right now, and they don't want to lose what they've always found, that it has belonged to them, and it's been their little league that fits in their little hand. And maybe that's the difficult part too, to see it change and morph into something that has not been what you loved your entire life. And that's part of my worry with this thing. But if the league can continue into the future, that's obviously the best thing to do, if it's the best thing to do, because we got these new stadiums in Winnipeg and Hamilton and Regina, and they can't just sit empty. Like, for kids, and I know they're community facilities in Regina. It's owned by, the city, and the kids play soccer there, but a facility of that caliber to be used for minor soccer. I mean, no offense to the kids playing soccer, but that thing needs to be in use. It's a beautiful facility. Just to have the Rough Riders, playing 4-down football, the thought of that kind of actually breaks my heart a little bit. So that's what's kind of been running through my mind. And what it seems like is that it's MLSE kind of pushing the narrative here. It's the organization that owns the Argos, and they have a ton of cash, but the Argos haven't been able to draw. That's the bottom line. They haven't been able to get anybody in the stands, so they want to make that a success. And I assume that they have a lot of clout when it comes to the CFL, because I don't know if there's ultimatums. I don't know if there's, we're out. We'll go join the NF or the XFL. We'll see how that goes. But there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, and it's funny that the MLSE is controlling things. We say they're controlling things that we think they are anyway.
Yeah.
Because they own one of the most difficult franchises in the CFL, one of the most struggling franchises in the CFL.
But it's like, how do you have a Canadian league without a franchise in Toronto? That's
exactly, yeah.
So that's why they're important.
Yeah, you raised a good point about the stadiums too. It kind of makes me wonder when these cities and football clubs made the proposals for these stadiums. If you know you're in a league that's struggling to make ends meet, are you still going to make those proposals? So I wonder if the league's really been as bad as we think it has been.
Well, and the bottom line is that the CFL supports a lot of jobs at a lot of levels. I mean, you just go to a stadium on game day. I mean, there's the parking guys, there's the concession people, there's the local. Like I got season tickets in Edmonton. The support that they show for minor football, the kids are there selling 50-50 tickets. Half of the proceeds from that massive 50-50 goes to minor football. Like, there's a lot of people that get supported by these games. And we talk about the Grey Cup, the hospitality industry. I've been to, 13 of these things, restaurants, hotels, like in November. That's big business, because usually there's nothing happening in November. Who wants to go to Winnipeg in November? So I think there's a lot at stake here, and the CFL is really entrenched in the community across the country.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting scenario, and I definitely can't wait to see where the heck it's going. Now, what are your views on the XFL? Did you watch a lot of XFL when it was on, and what do you think?
I watched a few snaps of it. I've got nothing really against it. I think the more jobs that are available for football players is a good thing. I mean, there are only so many players can make the NFL and continue that pro football dream. And the more jobs there are available, the better that can be. That being said, it seemed like at the beginning of 2020, they did everything the right way. It looked like they were ready to slowly build this thing. If they lost money for the first few years, they seemed okay with it. It looked to me like they had great marketing. The stadiums were set up great. The fans looked engaged. They were really into the sports gambling, so you could see the betting lines like on the score. I really thought that they were going to give this a legitimate run and have spring football in the United States, but when COVID comes, it just changes everything. And I think that's why we are where we are now. Anything and everything is on the table.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned a lot of stuff about jobs and how the teams put a product on the field. What did you actually think of the games themselves?
They were all right. I think you probably needed more time for the teams to gel and really put on some amazing games, but there was some talent in there. And what I found intriguing was like the kickoffs that they had.
Yeah.
They were really, really interesting, because that's also what I fear about losing in the Canadian game, because special teams is still such an important part. And the XFL was doing their best to keep it in the game, but also keep it safe, because we know it's the most dangerous part of the game when guys are, flying down the field at 100 miles an hour for 60 yards and then boom. So The games were fine. They probably needed a few more weeks, a longer training camp to really gel and put the best product possible on the field. But I thought the presentation, everything about it, they were off to a great start, and I think they had something going there.
Yeah, I really like the conversion options on the touchdowns,
That too.
and I liked when they had video reviews and they actually let you in the booth and listen to the conversation and how they talk about the play. I found that really interesting as well. I
Some of
found it-
those interviews, like in the middle of the game, too.
yeah,
Like I could get why a player would be annoyed by that, or even a coach, but to have that access is, I think, pretty cool.
yeah. I think one other thing that they did that I found odd was how the players come and go throughout the season. I think they were adding players and deleting players from squads, and wasn't there a ninth or an extra team that players could be put on or something weird like that?
I don't remember that, but you're right. There was a lot of changes and there was a lot of shifting here and there, but that seems to be almost par for the course. It happens in the CFL a lot. Like that's one
Yeah.
of the biggest issues with I think Canadian football, where players sign the 1-year deal and it's not their fault. Contracts aren't guaranteed. It's almost like every contract is a 1-year deal anyway.
Yeah.
So I get that. It was a bit strange, and maybe a couple more seasons under their belt, there would be some longevity. They'd be able to build and have fans be familiar with guys on their team, right?
Yeah. So now on the flip side, if they're not going to merge and it ends up being a situation where I keep hearing the CFL is going to be a pipeline to the XFL, what do you think of that idea?
Oh, that's really interesting.
I mean,
Because
I don't think it changes much on our end because the CFL will still exist.
Yeah. Now, the only reason I think about is player safety. Like, could a guy play in, like, if the season stayed the same, could a guy play in the XFL and then play in the CFL? Because that's going to be hard on a football
Yeah.
player. That's, I think, too much
Oh,
in
yeah.
one season. But if
Yeah.
and I thought about that too, could they share players and share talent somehow? I don't know how that looks, but I would think that most XFL guys could play in the CFL and vice versa. So, I mean, I don't think it really hurts to explore something like that, but is there too much football to be played in one year? Because I mean, if I suited up for one game, I would need 3 months to recover. So, like I know that these guys are well-oiled machines and they're athletes, but that partnership between players, I wonder if that is an option here to see where they're going, because they're going to be stars in either league. Do we want a star like Andrew Harris going to play for Seattle and they lose him out of Winnipeg? Just throwing it out there.
Right.
I don't know if they would, poach the top 5% of CFL players every year. I don't know if that helps the CFL at all,
Yeah, I guess that's a pretty good point. If anything, I think we could lose some valuable players
We could.
but yeah. So that's
And we
that's
do to the NFL. That's the way it goes. But it seems like both leagues, they sort of have a similar salary structure. I think for an American player, the XFL is definitely more attractive in the way that there's no currency exchange. They have a better chance at living closer to home. So those are a couple pluses for an American player. And I'm sure a Canadian player would want the opportunity to continue and play where they would like. So again, more jobs for players in North America. And they're always going to want that NFL opportunity as well. So if they can strut their stuff in the XFL, or CFL. And what makes me wonder about possible players going back and forth is if they're playing two different rule sets, how will that kind of merge? I'm really fascinated to see, because I think the CFL needs to. They've seen the reaction online, and most diehard CFL fans, they want to kind of keep the game the way it is, because I don't believe the game's the problem. It's the stuff surrounding it. It's the marketing, the business, and all.
Yeah. Or the non-marketing.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about your podcast, Two and Out CFL podcast. How long have you guys been going now?
We started in 2015, so this is coming up on 6 years. One whole year with no football, so the last year has been a bit trying, but there has been content somehow, along the way, and it just keeps getting more and more fun. We did a live show on Zoom in November. We did a live show at a bar at the Grey Cup in Calgary in 2019, and we did a live show at the Grey Cup in Edmonton in 2018. So we've been having lots of fun keeping this thing going.
So now, how did things work out doing a live show from a bar? I bet there's a lot of shenanigans going on there.
I don't know if anybody really cared what we had to say. There were drink specials and stuff, so that definitely helped. But we got kind of a gimmick going where I'll take on a CFL player in an eating contest, and so 2018. Zach Evans, a defensive lineman, played for Ottawa and Saskatchewan. I beat him in a pierogi eating contest. And then at Booker's Barbecue in Calgary, I took on Derek Dennis, now plays with Edmonton, longtime Stampeder, played for Saskatchewan too. We had a brisket eating contest.
My.
I won that. And then in November, offensive lineman Peter Diakowski, we had a Timbit eating contest. There was some controversy there. There's going to have to be a rematch to declare me the undisputed champion of that. So if you listen to Two and Out, it's probably 40% football, 60% nonsense.
Yeah, I've listened to quite a few episodes, and I like your guys' style, how it's just casual and you just sit around and just shoot the shit.
Ty and I have known each other since the 8th grade. So
wow.
Yeah, so we go way back, and the show really how the stupid stuff has kind of grown is that in 2015 he bet me, and he just said this, that he would get a full Brazilian wax if the Ottawa Red Blacks won 12 games in 2015. Well, they won exactly 12 games. So we went to his name, Brazilian Ty, was born, and he got the job done at a salon in Winnipeg during Grey Cup week, and the rest is history.
I've never heard that story. And I've
that's why he's Brazilian Ty.
I've never heard that story, and I've kind of wondered a couple times why he's called that, but never thought to ask her. But now that I know,
not much left of the imagination there, man.
Poor guy.
He was a champion through the whole thing. It was hilarious.
You got some video of that? No.
Well, I was in the room, and I had planned to have some video and some audio taken, but I'm telling you, we were like in a closet. There was no good angle for me to be. So I know Ty more than I ever thought I would.
Oh, man. That is some craziness there.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but I mean, props to him for going through with the bet.
Yeah, no kidding. So where can people find you and the podcast on social media?
So I think Twitter is probably the best way to get a hold of us at 2&Out CFL. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Twitter's probably the most accessible way. We got a website, 2andout.ca, email through there, and the podcast is on just about every platform. We don't do the video thing, but you can Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. It's all over the place. You can find it by just searching 2&Out CFL podcast.
All right. And no plans to go on TikTok or any of that.
I'm too old for that, aren't I?
Hey, I'm 45. I'm on TikTok.
Are you on
I'm actually thinking about creating a Puck and Pigskin TikTok account just to promote some video and stuff like that.
Now, do you make TikToks or do you just watch?
I've made TikToks, yeah.
Oh, all right.
I'm actually friends with one of the biggest TikTokers on there. I talked to him a few times, and yeah, it's an interesting platform. There's a big variety of people that are actually on there, and once you start using it and let the algorithm know what you like to see and stuff, it can actually be quite beneficial. Like mine's mostly food. Mine's mostly food and sports related. I look on there and I like all the food, the barbecue guys and the chefs.
Well, now you've caught my attention.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's some great food videos on there, recipes. Nice. And so yeah, I'm thinking Gary V's on there, right? So it can't be too terrible.
You know what? Maybe I'll try this out because I keep getting links sent to me. My sister just signed up for it. I think she spends 15 hours a day on there sending me funny stuff. So
it's definitely addictive. Like I said, once you get the algorithm to know what you like if you like the funny stuff and all that, that's all you'll see. And it's a huge rabbit hole that some days you don't get out of.
Nice.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show. And we're going to hopefully talk to Nik Lewis here any minute. He's set to jump on. So I will just transition to that now. And all right. We are joined now by CFL legend, Calgary Stampeder and Montreal Alouette former player, Nik Lewis. Nik, welcome to the Puck and Pigskin podcast.
I appreciate the invite, man, and I just want to know how you figured out the Puck and Pigskin. That just, well, I like it.
There's so many sports podcasts out there that I was actually trying different names, and they were all taken. And I was like, oh, I gotta think of something. And I don't know how, but it just came into my mind.
The Puck and Pigskin.
Puck and Pigskin, yeah. So let me just kind of pump your tires a little bit here. You're 15 years in the CFL, 2004 CFL Rookie of the Year, two-time Grey Cup champion with the Stampeders, of course. Sorry, Trav. Five-time CFL West All-Star with the Stampeders, one-time CFL East All-Star, and holds the record for the most pass receptions at 1,051.
Yeah.
So your first 9 seasons, you were over 1,000 yards. And then in 2013, you suffered an injury. After that, 2014 was a bit of a rough season for you with your streak ending there. A tough streak to end and a tough injury to end that streak. Did the injury have anything that affected that 2014 season, or was there a change in the game? Yeah.
No, a lot. Well, being 31, having my first major injury, being pretty much injury-free. I played with some torn cartilage in my ribs, torn ligaments in my knees, but I never really missed games. I never missed more than one game at a time. And for the most games that I missed in my career, it was usually the last game of the season when we had it wrapped up. And Huff wanted to rest us for the playoffs. So, me and Cope would miss a game near the end of the season. But that was the first time I ever had a major injury. And the fact that it was so bad, if my legs were smaller, it would have torn everything in my knee and everything in my ankle. But due
Man.
to the fact of having bigger legs, it only tore my fibula. It tore the ligament that runs from your knee to your ankle, and it tore every ligament in my ankle.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
they didn't think I was going to come back because of the force of the injury. The funny story is that they said I wouldn't jog for 4 months. That was August 17th that happened. I had surgery August 22nd. They said I wasn't going to jog until December. I was actually cleared 4 days before the Regina Western Final game, which Huff didn't believe. The doctor said, you don't have a chance to be cleared. And he gave me 2 weeks to do whatever I could. I started working out outside. I've been working out before, but I was so determined to play in that game, and they actually cleared me. And I told them through the bye week the whole time, because the last week of that season, Micah Johnson tore his ACL. DeMonte Bolden tore his MCL. So we're missing our starting 2D tackles. Marquay McDaniel got a high ankle sprain in BC, so he was out of that game. And I was like, this is exactly setting up for this comeback. It's going to electrify everybody. I told Dave to put me in the playbook. Told Huff, I'm going to be ready. The doctor kept saying it's impossible. It's impossible. But he's like, I'm going to let Nik think he can do something in 2 weeks. But I did it, and I went back on that Thursday before that Sunday game and did everything the doctor asked me to do. I had enough strength. I could do it. And he actually cleared me to play. I remember walking in telling Huff I could play. Huff laughed, told me I was lying. I said, go talk to Mikey, the trainer. Mikey said he is cleared. He comes up to me. He goes, they told me it was impossible that they were just letting you do it, that they was never going to clear you. And he said, you can play next week in the Grey Cup.
Wow.
And, never got that opportunity. So I almost felt like that was one that we missed. We had a great year. But, those 4 or 5 injuries against BC really tallied up. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, we started Justin Phillips as our starting D tackle. And Justin Phillips is about 230 pounds. And
Wow.
and if you notice, I think it was week 17 to wrap up the West, because we were with SAS, and that game was going to decide who won the West. And they rushed for like 30-something yards. But in that Western final, they rushed for 287 yards, Corey Sheets and Darian Durant. And that was a huge factor. But, yeah, long story.
So you mentioned your legs there. I guess it's a good thing you're thick, Nik, right? As Rod Peterson calls you.
Yeah. And I guess to go back and just cap that off, too. But, yeah, 2014, through the offseason, I couldn't work out 2 days in a row. I was in a lot of pain in 2014. There were days I couldn't even do walkthrough the day before the game. I only played 12 games. I had my first game with no catch, and that only happened because Cornish got hurt on the first drive of the game, and it changed the ratio. So,
I remember that game.
So then I had to come out, and I didn't even play that game. I think I played like 6 or 7 plays the whole game. So,
yeah, that's one of the games where I actually hated the ratio. Trav, you got anything for Nik?
Yeah. So then what happened? 2014, you're in a ton of pain. You end up going to Montreal. You get 1,000 yards again. Were you starting to feel better again in your career? And did you go into Montreal with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder? You wanted to prove that you could still do it.
Well, going into the Grey Cup in 14, I thought that was my last game. I was preparing myself for that to be my last game. I was actually talking to Huff about potential coaching opportunities. Corey Chamberlain called me about coming to SAS as the receiver coach. So I was exploring other options, and Jim Pop called me. I'd seen Fred Stamps at a mutual friend's birthday party in Houston, and we were talking about playing together. So I guess he called Pop, and Pop called me, and, we made it work, and I went to Montreal. In the first year, if you notice, all my yards come in the last 8 games. The first 10 games, I didn't really get the ball. They didn't know how to get me the ball really and do things, but we played a game in SAS where I think I had 5 catches for 86 yards in the fourth quarter. And the next week they come in and AC's like, we got to get you the ball better. And from that point on, I started getting better. And then going into that second season, SJ Green got hurt the first or second game of the year. So it opened up a lot of opportunities for me to kind of lead that team. And and get the ball. And I had the most catches I've ever had at 102, I think, from 6 different quarterbacks that year. And yeah, so it's more about opportunities and getting the ball, but definitely it took over a year to recover from that injury.
Now, a lot of people in Alberta will say that it's pretty similar to Texas. So how was the adjustment from Alberta to Montreal?
It was good. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't have done it in my 20s, I'll tell you that much. But being in my 30s, being a little bit older, being able to control myself a little bit better, definitely helps being in Montreal, because that city does not sleep, and you can definitely go out there and have a lot of fun.
So a lot of your catches were pretty nice little routes down up the middle there, and I'm sure you've taken your share of nearly death-defying catches. What's the hardest that you've been hit, do you think?
Kyrie Saber. I ran an out and up. Danny Wimprine, our third string, was playing because Hank got hurt. Then Jason Gessler got hurt. Wimprine comes in. We're playing Ottawa back in, I think, 2005 or 6. And yeah, ran an out and up. Danny Wimprine, I was so open, he floated the ball to me. And as I see Kyrie kind of bearing down, I kind of jumped to catch it, but he just hits me so hard. And everything on my right side, the lights just started flickering. I remember I jumped up, started celebrating. Cope and Rambo's like, "You can't hurt the pit bull." And I'm celebrating, and I walk back to the huddle, and I'm just like, man, he got me good. And everything on the right side is just flickering up and down. I get to the sideline, I talk to Pat Clayton, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but everything on this side is just flickering up and down. I look at the lights, and I can see everything moving. He goes, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Other than that, I feel good." And probably about 8 minutes later in the game, down near the red zone, probably just crossing the red zone, run another out and up, same play. He hits me again. I catch it. He hits me at like the 2-yard line, and the flicker went away. So I always like to say Kyrie's hit so hard that he can give you a concussion and take it away at the same time.
I got to ask, because I remember you delivering the punishing hits. So was there something, about you? You're an offensive guy, delivering hits just as hard, or if not harder, than the defensive guys. Where does that come from?
So in college, I played in the option offense. When I got there, we threw the ball 14 times a game. So if you're not blocking, you're not getting on the field.
Yeah.
And when you're running the option, these safeties are looking at that other running back, and they're running downhill, looking at the other running back. And I just felt like that was a perfect time for me to take out safeties. And also, you look at the game of football on offense, you're getting hit all the time. I want to equal the playing field. I want it to make it to where it's a dogfight. So in the fourth quarter, if I'm tired, you're tired. You're like, I do not want this guy to come hit me right now. And, there's a lot of times I use that to my advantage. I'd run at a guy full speed. I kind of duck my head towards him. He would brace himself for the hit, and then I would swim him into my out route. And he was waiting for a hit. I swimmed him. Now I caught the ball, and I'm wide open, and I'm running. I got a first down. And so I use those things to my advantage as well.
Nice. Yeah. So on August 24th, 2017, you passed G. Roy Simon to become the CFL's all-time reception leader. Give us an idea how big that was for you, and did G. Roy actually reach out to you at all in any way?
Yeah, so he did a video. That day was crazy, first of all. But G. Roy did a video that they showed there, which was awesome. Me and G have been friends for a long time, and getting to work with him in BC a couple years ago was awesome, and getting to beat him in golf was even better. But yeah, he definitely reached out to me. But going into that day, I think I was 11 catches from the record, or 10 catches from the record, and the CFL had said they went back and watched every catch, and they missed a catch. So I actually became one catch closer to start that day. That was the first message I read going into that day. Hey, you're one catch closer. I said, how many yards did I get on that catch? They said none. I said, no, that's not possible. How do you find the one catch that they didn't count and it's no yards?
So I got to ask you, when you're in a game like this, you're 10 catches away or whatever from the record, Do you guys actually, was it discussed to get Nik the ball a little more the closer you got to the record, or is that not come into play?
No, not at all. I knew we had back-to-back home games. My mom was going to be there for both. So we wasn't pushing to do anything. We were playing Winnipeg. We were down. We made a big comeback late in that game. And, me and Darian just found a lot of comfortability towards each other. Like, Darian watched me play. He's like, man, I just feel like I can just get you the ball. You're going to make the play, and then everything. And if you remember that drive, I'd caught a pass for a first down, I think. And then I caught another pass on that drive. And then it was 3rd and like 6 or whatever it was. And I caught the pass for the first down to extend the drive to put us in the field goal range. And so it really just wasn't getting me the ball. It was really just how it was just playing out. Darren felt comfortable, getting me the ball in those situations. On a 2nd and 10, I made the first down a couple times. And then it came out to that 3rd down. And I was actually rubbing for someone else coming across. They went to a zone. Darren found me. And so, yeah, it wasn't even supposed to come to me, but we made it work.
Nice.
So I'd say you got a few more good years. When you thought the 2014 Grey Cup was the end of your career, you played, 3 more years? Did you know it was over after 2017? Did you have a post-football plan in place?
Yeah, so I knew that I was done with football. After 2015, I thought Montreal was going to be a 1-year experiment. Just go to Montreal, enjoy, because I knew I had the chance to suit up with Steph Logan and S.J. Green and Fred Stamps and learn from Anthony Calvillo and do all these different things and be around John Bowman and Chip Cox and Billy Parker. And there's so many great athletes. I'm like, I'd be a fool not to take this opportunity. So I thought it was going to be a 1-year experiment. They brought me back in 16, but going into 16, I made a promise with my family. I said, look, I knew I was about 154 catches from the record. And I said, if I don't get 80 catches, I'm not going to play again the following year. And I went out and had 102. So then it was only fitting to come back. And then once I got the record, it was pretty much like I knew at that point Montreal didn't have a quarterback in place. Cato wasn't there. Vernon Adams wasn't there. They were going to go with Josh Freeman. And I just didn't feel comfortable going back in that situation and setting myself, like, what am I playing for? If I'm not playing for Grey Cups at this point, there's no reason for me to really play. So I had made the decision at the end of the year. And if you notice, the SAS game was my last game. I played my first game in SAS, scored my first touchdown there. And that SAS game was my last game. And I told him basically before that game, like, this is my last game. And I was happy of the full circle moment that I got in SAS. And it was good. It was good.
Well, and just this week, you get announced you're going into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. And I mean, yes, when you get that call, what goes in your head? Do you think about your whole career? Like, what did you first feel?
First, it just felt, my mother really wanted this for me. It was a very special moment. And I think the way you get it too, me and my dad had talked about it for a couple days before then. And I didn't even know if they were going to do a Hall of Fame this year because they didn't do the actual induction last year. Yeah. So just knowing that, he was like, you think you'll get in? I said, well, I don't even know if they're doing it. And if they do it, there's only 21 first ballot Hall of Famers. So I was like, Damon Allen wasn't even a first ballot Hall of Famer. And he was 3rd in rushing and 1st in passing at the time he retired. So go figure on that one. And and then 2 days later, I get a call from Matt Dunnigan. And my first head coach, and it's nothing for me and Matt to talk. So I didn't have no clue. We talked about my mother and her passing, and then he started talking about my career, and I'm thinking, okay, is TSN about to do some kind of features or something? And then he hit me with it, and it's just like, it was very overwhelming. Very special moment.
Yeah, so now that you've moved on from football, you have a podcast going, and Rod Peterson's show this week, you announced your latest venture. Why don't you kind of fill us in a little bit about that?
Yeah, AO Sports. So AO stands for Athlete Owned Sports. And I was just looking at this landscape of how, even like you guys, you have great content, sports content. And for YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and some of these other platforms, they make millions of dollars and they pay out pennies, right? So I wanted to create a platform that would, blow them out of the water in a pay structure, but also give people sports content creators and athletes a platform to create, be creative, and have a safe place for their content. And that's AO Sports. So we're based around 4 pillars of content. So we'll have broadcast quality shows, just like you see on TSN, ESPN, Fox Sports, NBC. We'll have reality shows, documentaries. We'll have our live events, which are pay-per-view section. Where we'll do live from events. We'll do leadership talks from some of the greatest athletes. We'll do nutritional talks and all kinds of different things like that, educational, and just utilizing athletes' public speaking and bringing in other people as well, right, on the pay-per-view side of things. And we're actually partnering with some really cool companies that give us a bigger platform and more variety of content. Podcasts and videocasts can come inside the platform. And also our AO Evolve is what's your personal evolution. So when you look at your personal evolution, it's mental and physical, right? So to be able to train with some of the best trainers or get skill work from some of the greatest athletes, right? If you want to learn how to run a route from Jerry Rice or play D tackle from Warren Sapp, or you want to learn how to throw a ball from Jeff Garcia or Damon Allen, you're going to have that opportunity through the AO Evolve. And it's going to be so much more. It's going to be fan engaging. We're going to put on events. We're going to give away dream trips to sports fans. So, what's your sports dream trip? We're going to start doing that for sports fans. And that's what it's about. It's creating memories and experiences. And everything that I was as a player is going to be what AO Sports is about. And the athletes are going to have freedom. And the content creators are going to have freedom. And they're going to make a lot more money. Put it that way.
I see a potential television deal with Puck and Pigskin podcast there on AO.
Love it. The Puck and Pigskin.
Trav, anything else there on your end?
Well, I'd love your point of view from the player point of view, the discussions between the CFL and the XFL right now. We don't really know where that's going, but what are you thinking as a former player in the CFL?
Well, I try to look at it as strictly business. And if the CFL is not playing, it doesn't make sense for the XFL to link with them. And if the XFL isn't stable, it doesn't make sense to link with them. So what does the CFL get out of a merger? And what does the XFL get out of a merger? That's what I look at. The XFL needs talent. They need quarterbacks. They need talent. And if the CFL loses their top quarterbacks or loses talent, they're going to struggle. And the XFL can only give the CFL monetization and kind of viewership. But if you don't watch the CFL now, there's not going to be a huge percentage of people in the U.S. that say, you know what, I'm going to start watching the CFL because of The Rock. And The Rock ain't playing.
Yeah.
Right? So you're kind of attaching yourself to a name instead of building your brand. And one of the things is you got to brand this thing. Unfortunately, the CFL is branded, and they don't want to go against their faithful clientele, which is 35 and up, to bring in the younger generation. And those are some of the things that you have to figure out all through branding. You don't hear no CFL content outside of when CFL season's on. That's a huge disadvantage. You hear about the NFL 365 days a year.
Yeah.
Right? There's always something, and there's something all done with the CFL too. So I just feel like there's not a lot of people looking to put money into it, but AO Sports is, and we're going to change that. And we're going to change what you're going to be able to see, the value you're going to be able to get, and even bringing U Sports to the forefront as well, and putting on more U Sports content if we can, if they're looking to finish off this partnership.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I just want to say one more thing. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame. I know during the height of the Rough Riders Stampeders rivalry, I was a bit of a loudmouth on Twitter. Mr. Nik Lewis blocked me on Twitter, and a few years ago, you gave me a second chance and unblocked me on Twitter. So thank you for that. I appreciate your insight every day.
Indeed, Trav. Hey, man, it's good. It's good. I always believe that you guys should be able to just say what you feel and do. But, for me, it's all about respect. And at the end of the day, I'll go back and forth with anyone as long as we're respectful about it. And, it's all good. We live and we learn.
Yeah, we do.
That's right.
I'm in Sass right now. I'm about to go train some kids with Mac Henry and Charleston Hughes and Derek Moncrief and
Awesome.
those guys for this camp. It's a free camp out here in Sass that we're doing. So
sounds like
I'm
a
just proud to be a
terrible
part.
weekend.
It's all about the kids. It's all about the kids.
That's awesome. Hey, before we let you go, Nik, why don't you just let everybody know where we can all find you on your social medias? I'm going to link everything down below, but just kind of give a shout out to where people can find you.
Yeah, at NIKEL18 on Twitter, Instagram, Nik Lewis on LinkedIn, and the Lulu Logic group on Facebook. That's the best group to find me on Facebook. My friends list is full.
Great group.
But you can always join the Lulu Logic group. It's a positive group. So if you have negativity, please don't join. And AO Sports TV is on Twitter. All of our other social media pages will be coming this week. And so we'll be doing that and looking forward to much more. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Nik and Trav. And I guess hopefully we'll see some product on the field soon. And I look forward to seeing what AO Sports has to bring.
Yes, indeed. And keep doing them Snapchats, man. Keep doing that. Them TikToks. keep the TikToking going. I enjoy the video.
I'm getting Trav hooked on TikTok now.
I got to download it. I thought I was too old.
No, Jay got the TikToks, man. All right, y'all be easy. Have a great day.
Have a good day, guys.